Welcome back, everybody. This is the thejonnymar, and I am continuing with Final Fantasy III for the PSP. So last time we got to this sealed cave where we are going to encounter a brand new enemy that we have not faced before, and that is the second boss of the game. And this enemy is the one that has cursed all of the citizens of this area and turned them into ghost enemies. Or ghost characters, so to speak. So we have our new party member, Sarah, following us, the princess, and she is going to assist us in battle by doing occasional abilities. So you may notice while you're fighting with her that she will jump in and either heal your party members or use the arrow spell. Hopefully I can show that off during the Djinn battle. So we grabbed 2 items on the way to Djinn, and now we are going to heal up real quick because we have reached the boss. Now, Djinn is a flame demon, and so he is susceptible to blizzard and ice magic. And so we are, of course, going to be utilizing that Antarctic wind that we picked up, and we are also going to be using the blizzard spell, as well as some physical attacks. Well, this should be easy. We'll just use the ring, and Djinn will be no more. Oh man, the ring didn't work. He has been infused with the power of darkness. And so we must fight him. Now fortunately, at around level 7, he's going to be pretty easy. Now he can attack multiple times per turn if you allow him, but he's also very slow. So we are going to try to take him out in 2 or 3 rounds. That should be pretty easy. So we will use the Antarctic wind that we picked up in this dungeon. We will also use some physical attacks as well as the blizzard spell. Oh, and we got an activation of Sarah. So Sarah is going to actually use her arrow spell. That might, if we get some good damage rolls, that might actually allow us to beat him in a single round. We'll see. So pretty good start. Let's see how much damage the Antarctic wind does. Oh yeah, almost 400 damage. Ingus will throw in a little bit with the blizzard spell, and then let's see if we can finish him off. Down he goes. And that is the second boss. Now obviously if you're lower level, he'll be a little bit more difficult, but at around level 7, with the Antarctic wind, it's a pretty easy battle. So now maybe the ring will work? She's gonna try again. And he does not like it. So we have captured him in our ring. And for some reason, our heroes are all turning very transparent. What's going on? We'll be fine, says Angus. But the princess, not so sure. So we are getting teleported back to the crystal room at the beginning of the game. Because now I guess we proved ourselves to the crystal by beating the Djinn and showing that we have the metal, so to speak, in order to take on this task of saving the world. So the crystal is going to tell us a little bit about what we are supposed to be doing, which is essentially become the heroes, the warriors of light. And the crystal is also going to give us our first jobs in the game. Now, unusually, it's also going to activate a pretty long sequence, which is actually going to show some credits. So when I first played this, I was like, okay, am I done with the game? But obviously not, right? But I guess it makes a little sense. Like, people don't necessarily watch the credits at the end of the game, so the game is kind of maybe forcing you to pay attention to what the different people were that worked on this game. A little cheap, but it's also going to throw in some exposition. So I will meet you on the other side after these wonderful credits. Don't worry, we will do it. You are our last hope. Just like Princess Leia said to Luke. So the main kind of thing behind this is that we are now going to have access to the job system. So Final Fantasy III was the first game in the series to have a pretty verbose job system. So although obviously Final Fantasy 1 and 2 also had jobs of a sort, you couldn't necessarily switch between the jobs. Final Fantasy III allows you to actually regularly and kind of, on a normal basis, change between jobs if you want to, and kind of pick what you want to do. So we have a little Moogle here who's going to tell us a little bit about that, and obviously I will explain it a little bit better too. So jobs are, as you might expect, specializations that allow you to focus on generally either melee level sort of characters or magic-based characters. And you can change between the jobs, again, kind of freely. There is a little bit of an exception with that. So in the original Famicom version, you had to use a system called the capacity system. So as you battled, you would gain spiritual capacity, and you would have to use that kind of as a currency to change between jobs. Now in this game, they changed that system a little bit, and they went to kind of an attunement system, where basically every time you change job, you needed a certain number of battles to get your full stats. So I'm going to show off the job system here. We have access to 6 jobs off the bat, 7 if you count Freelancer. So we have our basic melee classes, the Warrior and the Monk. As you might expect, they are going to do a lot of physical damage from the front row. We have our Mage classes, which are the Black and White Mage. Black Mage focuses on, of course, magical damage, offensive magic. White Mage focuses on healing abilities. The Red Mage, my own personal favorite class, is a combo class which has both black and white magic. And then the Thief is more of an agility-based class, which allows you to steal as well as more easily run away from battle. Now, for my particular party, you don't really need to focus on particular classes at this point in the game. You really can choose any classes that really match your playstyle. There are some exceptions with that, so at some points in the game, it will force you to use certain classes, mainly because of abilities. So to start off, I'm going to use a pretty standard party. I'm going to use a Red Mage, a Warrior, a Thief, and also a Black Mage. So that'll give me a pretty good balance of physical damage. The ability to steal, although most enemies don't have great things to steal, there is an exception coming up, which is one of the next dungeon areas. You actually can steal Phoenix Downs, which are really good, as you might expect, because you can't actually buy them in the game. So what I'm going to do is take some time. I'm going to equip my characters here, and then I'm going to do some battling around this area to get rid of the kind of weaknesses that are associated with changing classes and get them all up to full level. And then I will meet you over at the castle once I am done with that process. So I will see you in a little bit. All right, so we are all powered up and ready to go. So we're heading back to the castle. Now in the Famicom version, you basically came back here automatically after you defeated Djinn. Now in this version, they had to give us a little bit of a tutorial on the job system. Obviously in the Famicom version, you had access to the jobs pretty much from the start of the game. So not only have we trapped the Djinn in our Pokeball of a ring, but we're also now going to drown the Djinn by throwing him into the blessed water. I'm not sure if it's actually going to drown him, but seems safe, right? No one would ever possibly find this ring in this water. Totally safe to throw it in here. And so that now lifts the curse. So everyone should be back to normal. So we're going to head to the throne room and we're going to talk to the king, who, as you might expect, is pretty happy with what we've done. So although gratitude is wonderful, I certainly would like some, some other rewards. Specifically, we're still kind of stuck in this beginning area of the game, so it would be nice if we had something to help with that. But we tell the king, you know, we have to go on our quest. We've been tasked by the crystal to save the world. And he's like, okay, do that. And when you come back, you can stay here. And then he gives us an item. Now it's handed over by this soldier, so it must be pretty tiny. And you find out it is a folding canoe. But have no fret, it is a magical folding canoe, so therefore it can fold up and fit in our pocket. And we need that to actually access the airship. Because remember, in the last episode when we went to the sealed cave, we flew the airship across the river, and now we can't access it anymore. Except now, with the canoe, we can actually get to it. So we're going to talk to the various people around here, get a little bit of new dialogue, and then the main thing we're going to do before we continue on with our quest is we're going to go talk to the princess. Now, she went back to her room after we got back to the castle here, and apparently she's pretty upset that Ingus is going to be leaving. So she returned to her room, and now she's crying, sobbing uncontrollably. So we should probably go say goodbye to her before we take off. But before we do that, we also want to rest and save. So I'm going to head over here and take a sleep. All right. So remember, the princess is in the eastern tower of this castle area. So we'll head over there. Talk to a few more of the soldiers here on the way. That's good that you'll protect her. Hopefully do a better job than before, where you were turned into a ghost. And then this soldier lets you know that basically all of the warriors in this area aspire to become red mages, which makes sense to me. Red mage is an awesome class. Now, it is pretty much the best class in the early game of this particular journey. But as you might expect, as you continue onward, the red mage gets outclassed, haha, pun intended, by other classes. And as I mentioned, you don't have to really worry about classes at this point. You can pretty much play whatever you want. Now, in the end game, towards the end of kind of our journey, there are certain classes you're going to want to use. But for now, we can use pretty much whatever we want. Now, while you're leveling, you'll notice that now that we have access to jobs, that you'll get experience related to your kind of natural abilities, and then you'll also get what are called job levels. Job levels are obtained by doing actions in battle. So when you do certain actions in battle, and you do a certain number of those actions in each battle, you will gain job experience and then gain a job level. Now, the job system in this game is not as robust as later games in the series, so you can't mix and match abilities or anything like that across jobs. But gaining levels is important, because if you max out a job to level 99, you actually get a special job-specific item that's pretty powerful. And also, it increases things like damage and hit percentage and things like that. So if you have a particular class that you really enjoy, it's highly encouraged to focus on it, master it, and continue onward. But again, certain classes in the late game are just better than these early classes. So you don't necessarily want to focus too much on the first 6 classes. They're going to get outpaced by later jobs. So Sarah says goodbye. And yes, we will come back and say goodbye. Or actually say hello once we save the world. Our word is our bond. Alright, so that's it for this episode. We're going to go get our airship. And then we're going to head back to the previous towns. And we're going to see if we can talk to Sid, who is no longer a ghost. And see if we can figure out a way to get out of this area. So as always, viewers, thanks for watching. And I'll see you all next time. So long.